The final thing that we're going to be doing is we'll export our custom theme. This is an essential step for backing up, sharing, or deploying your theme to a live site or a different environment. You'll want to export your theme to make it more portable. This will allow you to move the theme to a new site or to a new environment. It's also a great way to create a backup so that you can store a copy in case you lose your work. Exporting your custom theme is a way that you can keep different versions as you develop. You'll be able to share your theme with others for feedback or for teamwork. And you'll be able to push the finalized theme to a staging or live server. Let's review how we can go ahead and export our custom theme. Before you export your theme, you're going to want to make sure that you finalize your theme. So finish all of your customizations, your templates, your template parts, global styles, all of the things that we've been working on throughout this course. You want to ensure that you're exporting a complete and polished product. If you have incomplete or broken templates, they will carry over into exported files. I am sure that my theme is ready to export. I've already made customizations in many of my theme-related files. These steps allowed me to build various things into my theme. These customizations currently exist in my local version of my theme. But if we look in the templates file, you can see that I only have the index.html template. If we look inside our templates file, you can see I only have the index.html template. Obviously, there is a disconnect between the files that we have modified for our theme and what currently exists in my theme folder. So I want to make sure that everything is synced up and I have the entire theme. In order to do this, you'll need to go to one of your template files. It doesn't matter which one, you just need to come into one of them. If you're using the Create Block theme, you'll have the little wrench icon, which will allow you to go ahead and export your theme as a zip. If you aren't using Create Block, you can always go to the three dots at the top to access the options, and you'll also be able to export your theme with all the updates and template styles. Either of these methods will allow you to create a new zipped version of your theme. I'll go ahead and click Export Zip. If I open my downloads folder, you can see here is the zipped theme. And if we go into the actual theme folder, it's going to contain all of the latest and newest elements that are part of my theme. So you can see I have all of my template files here, as well as any of the other modifications that we've already made that are part of our theme. One thing that I do want to point out is that by default, the WordPress patterns are not typically exported when you export the theme. This is because when we create patterns, these are often saved in the WordPress database and they're not automatically created as physical files in your theme unless you register or define them manually in the code. If you only have a few patterns, you can go ahead and manually export them. I'll show you what this looks like. I'm going to go back out into my WordPress editor. I'll go into my patterns, and these are the 3 patterns we created. So we don't actually have very many patterns. I'm going to click on one of the patterns, and we'll need to go up to the 3 dots. We're going to select Copy All Blocks. Then we'll need to go into our website. The website that I'm currently working on inside of my code editor is the previous instance of my website. So let me just update this with the latest version of our website. Now you can see I have all of my template files as well as the additional elements that WordPress exported for me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a new folder called Patterns. And inside the pattern folder, we're going to create HTML files. The name of the file needs to match the name of your pattern inside of WordPress. So this one's called recipe-details. I'm going to go ahead and name this file recipe-details.html. Once I've done that, I can go ahead and paste, and this is going to paste in all of the block elements from WordPress. I'll save this, and I'll just quickly make 2 other files that are going to house my additional patterns that I'm using within my website. So I have my to-call layout. Once again, I'll go to the 3 dots. I'm going to copy all blocks. We'll paste in the code and save this file, and then we're just going to do that one more time and create our 3-column block pattern. I'll go back out to WordPress, I'll find the pattern, I'll go to the 3 dots, copy all blocks, come back into my code editor, paste in the code, and save the code. Now I have these 3 patterns here. In order to make these part of your theme so that they'll show up if you want to export your theme and use it elsewhere, you're going to need to register the patterns files. Typically, you will do this in your functions file, or you can create a separate PHP file that houses the pattern registrations. I usually prefer to do this just because my functions file can get pretty complicated depending on the number of patterns. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file in the root directory. We're going to call this patterns.php. And in this PHP file, we're going to go ahead and create the code that will allow us to register the patterns. We'll start off by creating opening and closing PHP tags. And inside the PHP tags, we're going to start this process similar to what we've been doing in previous files. We'll start off by creating a function. I'm going to call my function VA custom theme register block patterns. The first thing we'll add inside the curly braces is a variable. This is just going to store information as to the path of where our pattern.html files are located. We'll be using get template directory and concatenate on our patterns folder. Then I'm going to use something called register block pattern. This code is similar to other code that we've used within WordPress. We're going to start off by defining the name of our theme along with the name of each individual pattern. So I'll start off with my recipe details pattern. Inside the array, we're going to pass in several parameters. The first one is going to be title. The register block pattern is a function that's part of the WordPress block editor, and it allows you to register a custom block pattern that will be available for users in the editor under the Patterns tab. Then we'll go ahead and specify a unique identifier for our pattern. This is a string that combines the namespace, this is usually the name of your theme, and a slug. The slug is a short, unique name for the pattern. This helps to avoid conflicts with other patterns. The second part of the register block pattern is the array. The array is where we pass in the pattern properties. So title is going to be the name of the pattern that's going to show up in the WordPress editor. We'll be calling ours recipe details for this first example. We wrap this information inside of __ parentheses, and then we close it with parentheses. This is a localization function so that our theme can be translated into other languages. The VA custom theme is the text domain for the translations. It should match the name of your theme. The description is the optional description that will be shown in the editor for clarity. Categories determines where the pattern appears in the block editor patterns tab. We're going to put this under layout. And content is the actual block markup that makes up the pattern. File get contents reads the contents of the HTML file. Base is the variable that we created up here, and it just points to our patterns folder. And recipe details.html is the file that contains just the HTML block. So this whole block of code right here is going to register a reusable layout called recipe details, and it will make it appear under the editor's pattern panel, which will load the content from our theme's HTML file. We'll just need to repeat this block of code for all of the patterns that we want to use. And as you can see, I'm just using the exact same pattern, but I'm going to register my 2-column layout pattern and then my 3-column layout pattern. The final line of code that we're going to need to add is going to be an add action hook. We'll type add action, and then we'll pass in init and VA custom theme register block patterns, which of course is the name of our function. I'll save my patterns.php, and then the last thing that I need to do is I have to include this file inside of my functions file. So we'll go back to our functions.php file, and I'm just going to go to the very bottom of my functions file. I'll make a comment, and then we're just going to type require get template directory, and we'll concatenate that with patterns.php. This is just going to allow the functions file to know where to find the patterns file, and it will load it so that it runs immediately when the theme loads. I'll save both of these files, and now I should have all of the necessary elements that are part of my theme. The best thing that you can do once you've gone ahead and packaged your theme is to create a new theme and test it. I've just done a fresh install of WordPress. I don't have any content on this new theme. I'll go ahead and log into WordPress. And as you can see, if we go into our theme editor, we don't have any themes aside from the default themes that come with WordPress. So let's go ahead and see what happens if we go ahead and export our custom theme and then import this into WordPress. Keep in mind that if you do want to do this, you're going to need to create a zip file of your theme. Here's the theme file that we were just working on. As you can see, here's our patterns, and here is our brand new pattern.php file. I'm going to go ahead and create a zip of this file. Now that I have this zip file, I can import this into my new WordPress project. In the appearance theme area, I'm going to click add themes. We'll go ahead and upload a theme. I'll choose the file that we just created. I'm going to click open, and we'll install our theme. I'm going to activate my theme. And as you can see, here's my new theme. It is worth mentioning that I did make a custom screenshot just so we could easily see that this is our custom theme. And if we go back to the front end portion of WordPress and refresh, you're going to see that all of the customizations that we had previously added are going to now be part of this new theme. So clearly, I don't really have very much content in this new project, but you can see that the theme-based files that we created are being pulled in and updated. And of course, we can go into the editor and modify any of these things. And just to check on our patterns, let's go to patterns. If we go to all patterns, you can see here's our recipe details, 2-column layout, and 3-column layout. So these are now part of this theme as well. I really hope that you found this course on custom block theming with WordPress to be valuable. And I hope that you're able to go out there and make the web a more beautiful place and create your own custom websites and have full control over every granular aspect. Happy coding!